Well, hello there. Welcome to BareLead, where we strip down leadership to its raw, unfiltered, unabashed truths. I'm Pooja, and today we're diving into, once again, bold decisions, vulnerability, and what modern leadership looks like for women today. My guest today is Morsal, and I'm super excited and thrilled to have you, first of all. Please tell the audience a little bit about yourself before I jump right into questions.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So my name is Morsal Osmani. I am 33 years old. I live in Amsterdam. I was born in Afghanistan and I came to the Netherlands with my parents and my little sister when I was at the age of 7. So I kind of grew up very
Yeah,
Dutch. I'm practically Dutch, with the roots of Afghanistan.
yeah.
And currently, I am working as a mindset and energy coach, which was not always the case, but that's why I'm here. Yeah, what else can I tell you? I
That's
think,
that's fine. That's a great summary. Thank you
okay,
so much for
perfect.
sharing where you come from, a little bit about the composition, also your journey and what you're doing now. I
Thank
want
you.
to take you back a little bit because now we're talking about leadership truths for women. So can you tell me a little bit about where did your journey of leadership really start in your own field? How did you arrive at leadership in your field?
Great question. How did I arrive in leadership? So I used to work in recruitment and sales. I started when I was, I think, it was in 2017, 2018. And I was very, let's say, branded on I need to be successful. I need to make it in life.
Mm,
So doesn't matter which field, as long as I could earn a lot of money,
yeah.
that was for me enough. And also, of course, I liked doing it. But for me, the first um, thing that I wanted in my 20s was get really successful.
Hmm.
We'll get back on that part. So I started working as a as a recruitment consultant, and then I grew up in the role of manager.
Yeah.
Not very very broad, but just two people, and I really loved to coach them
Hmm.
and also be the leader of like someone who goes in front of the people
The
and
line.
not like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, and so I already like that very much. And leadership for me, what does that mean? Is that you are someone who has done the work,
Hmm.
who doesn't have all the answers, but knows how to explain like really
Ideas.
complex things, ideas into some simplicity, so that people also understand
Yeah.
and they feel like they're guided and they feel like they can trust you with everything. So leadership is yeah, for me, you have to be someone who already has done the work, but is
Hmm.
also very vulnerable at not having this type of personality like I know it all, and
Yeah.
yeah, you have to do this and you have to do that. So just someone who's also a person.
Yeah, I
And
think it's a great way to put it, and also early leadership lessons, right? Vulnerability, staying humble, doing your inner work, and also making sure
exactly.
that you can simplify complexities of an organization to tangible aspects. So that's great
Yes.
lessons up front. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing your
of
journey
course.
from the recruitment consultant to manager, and then of course adapting your leadership style and persona. So
Hmm.
how has the idea of alignment shaped your leadership journey? Because, when you're starting off specifically from a space of ambition and a space of, I want to make it work at all accords, sometimes it can be tricky, right? Because you don't fully know if that's really what you want and if
Yeah,
that's really where you want to go. So, how has the idea of alignment shaped your journey?
yeah. Great question. So let me first start by explaining what alignment for me is, because for a lot of people, alignment means something else. So
Yeah.
alignment for me is doing something um, that your body feels light. So you're doing something that your energy is flowing, even though you put in a lot of time and, let's say, effort.
Hmm.
You feel a bit tired, but still you feel so happy doing that. You feel
Yeah.
like this is the path this is the right path for me.
Mm.
But that also means what is not alignment. And not alignment means your body feels heavy. You feel like you're in a survival mode. Um, so it really has to come from, I don't know if it's a English saying as well, but it has to come from your toes, you know? So,
Yeah.
and every day you're like, okay, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to do it. And that was for me the first step that I saw that I was not in alignment is my body gave me signals,
Hmm.
and in the form of I was tired, I slept bad, I looked also really I gained weight as well. I had this puffy face, I call it the moon face. And so I had a lot of signals from my body coming in, but I
Yeah.
ignored that because I was like, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be successful. I promised this to myself. So I put myself in this cage of I have to.
Mm.
And no one said it to me that I have to be successful or I have to make it in life. Not even my parents, but I made this cage of if I'm not successful, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
So I tied my self worth to how successful or what I could accomplish.
Right.
And for me, it was very important that to see that okay, what am I doing? I'm
Yeah.
running towards what?
Right.
And yeah, I used to think that your 20s and your 40s are to grind hard and to just make it, and no matter your circumstances. So if you're unhappy, who cares? You have to make it in life, and that's how I got into my head. Um, and then yeah, at some point my body came was like knock knock, we're done. And yeah, then for me, I started doing the inner work. It has for me started for like it was 2 years ago, and it never finished,
Mm.
right? Because new levels, new devils. But
Yeah.
um, that's how I knew, like, okay, I have to change something.
Right. I think it's so important about what you said, right? Attaching your accomplishments to self-worth is very dangerous because the moment the external validation stops coming in, specifically, for example, when you're not in a role or not in a job, or you're doing something of your own, or even if you're just maturing in your role, that external validation doesn't come in as much as when you're just, growing and starting off. So people can
No.
feel thrown off by, what am I doing wrong and why am I not accomplishing this and that? But it's so
Yes.
I'm so happy that you shared the fact that, first of all, it's a self-imposed cage.
Yeah.
It mostly comes from yourself. I think none of our parents really force us to take a path. They just want us to live well and be happy. But I think that we often make that mistake, right? And we often ignore the bodily signs because the moment you realize you're on that path where you shouldn't be, it's already too late because your body is giving you, is screaming at you, not
Yeah.
only just
Yeah.
giving you signs. And then it's
Yeah.
it's it's really difficult to come back and rightly you pointed out, right, that inner work is never complete. So, but the
No.
good thing is, it happens to people and you start. And once you start that, and I think leadership looks very different from that point onward. So I think you also
Yeah.
answered a bit of my next question, which was around when you know you're off course, how do you realign? Because for you, it's clearly bodily signals now, or is there something else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, there is something else I would like to add as well. So yeah, the body never lies. You always know, but what can you do? Because you just said it, like when your body screams, then it's already a bit late, right?
Yeah.
So how can you know right before your body gives the signals? Because if you go through it, might maybe you end up in a burnout.
Mm.
So for me, if I look back, like, okay, what were the signals for me that I could already listen to? And I don't know if you're into human design.
To an extent, yes.
Okay, so as a human design, I'm a generator, and my not self theme is frustration. So
Mm.
whenever I'm out of alignment, I feel frustrated.
Okay.
And when I was diving into my human design, I saw it, but I always felt like frustration, but I couldn't not really like point out like, yes, this was it. I was feeling this like, like just this, but I couldn't like really put words into it. But when I saw my human design, I was like, oh my God, yes, this is correct. Like frustration is for me a signal that I'm doing something out of alignment. And I think knowing in a leadership role, knowing like when are you out of alignment, and to be early on and not just move on until your body gives the signal, but early on in the stages, like to know that. And for me, that was yeah, that was really frustration.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's more like if I feel anxious on Sundays,
Okay,
and if I do that repeatedly,
great
then that's
one.
a really, really a big red flag for me.
Yeah, 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 right. On Sunday, you're like, oh, okay, it's right.
Absolutely. But also I think, what you also mentioned is like a continuum, right? But there are also certain defining moments in a person's career or life which
Hmm.
force you to rethink your path. So from,
Yeah,
the recruitment side of things to actually helping and coaching people that you do now, what
yeah,
moment particularly forced you to rethink your path?
yeah, yeah. So for me, as I said, so I was doing recruitment, and I always wanted to have my own business.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2023, I left the corporate world, but I started for myself, and I started with an ex colleague of mine. We started a recruitment agency in for only females,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also something that I truly felt like I want to contribute to, yeah, to the women.
Yeah.
So we started this company, and even though like I was like, yes, this is what I want, helping women, inspire them, helping them in their careers, I was still feeling this frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I saw like, okay, like what am I doing, is that the job that I was into, I love doing it, but I also started doing the inner work. So it went
Mm-hmm.
like I did the inner work, and I was like diving deep, like way back, and a lot of it as well. So when I was seeing, okay, where am I scared of? Why am I doing this? Why do I want to be successful? And that's when I knew, like, okay, but I'm running now because I'm still scared. I'm still um, acting, or I'm still leading from this fear-based part of myself.
Yeah.
Um, and I always wanted, obviously, I always wanted to inspire women, because that's why I also started it. So there was some, some, how do you say, like this red
Thread,
line,
yeah, common thread.
thread, exactly, this red thread. But because I only knew how to make money with what I've learned,
Mm,
that was for me like a logical step. Okay, so I should be doing this.
yeah.
And when I started doing that, I was feeling so frustrated. So then I was like, okay, but what do I want? Like, what do I want? And I remember one time I had this conversation with another entrepreneur before I was starting this recruitment agency, and he asked me like this kind of joking way, like, "Okay, what do you want to do when you grow up? When you grow up, right?" And then I said, "Well, when I really made it in life, like when I'm successful and I did my recruitment and I did my years and I proved that I was worthy in my head, then I want to help women. I want to inspire them. I want to what I'm doing now, you know." So
Yeah.
I was already saying that,
But you were
but
waiting for proof.
yes, and
Mm.
I had all these noise as well. Like, yeah, I have to do this first, and then I can do that.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know me, and he actually said, because he only met me once, he was like, yeah, 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 you need to build some body into your career, and then you can do that. So
Mm.
obviously, I was like, yeah, 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 and not knowing that. Wait, first of all, you don't know my story, because it's not about me teaching how to run a business.
Yeah.
It's what I've been through and what I've learned, which I can show you how to do it. So for
Yeah.
me, the change was in I needed permission for myself to do it, not
Right.
for anyone else. And that's when it changed for me, like, wait, I can do it now? Wait, did I give myself permission, So I
Yeah.
think that's important to know. Like, no one, no one, you don't need any permission from someone else but you. And when
Absolutely.
once you give yourself this permission, who is going to stop you?
100%. I think what you've just mentioned is such a valuable lesson for so many women out there because we all look at building that body of career after we have built a body of career already. And I
Yeah.
think it's all about, okay, us imagining that the leap is too far.
Hmm.
So from being, the person in the recruitment to actually doing the work that you do now, maybe you feel that the leap is too much. So you need like a bridge role in
Yeah.
between. And I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of women kind of meander because they go further and further away from their purpose. And
Yeah.
I think you nailed it when you said that, you only need permission from yourself. And sometimes those kind of conversations which comes from the wrong people at the wrong time,
Yeah.
those they kind of test you whether, you
Yeah.
believe in yourself
Yeah.
or whether you're still kind of susceptible to just taking every advice that comes your way.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's also really important too. Also, who are you taking the advice from?
exactly.
And what's your energy when you tell something about yourself? If I look back, I was like, whoa, like, why did I, like, he
Bother.
doesn't know me. And he fully was like, yeah, you should do this first and then you can do that. Like, no, but that's afterwards when I've done the work, when I think that's really important, what you just said. Like, yeah, you have to give yourself permission. And it's also an illusion. It's an illusion that you think, like, I have to, okay, like if you have, I don't know, if you want to become a surgeon, of course you have to put in the work. But if
Yeah.
you want to become a coach on mindset or energy, you don't have to do it's already inside of you. You are your story.
Absolutely. And I think the number of people that I see on LinkedIn or Instagram where they are potentially established coaches in their field, but if you look at the quality of content, um, it's definitely something to watch out for because that's something that we all can put out. It's just about going out there, starting and being consistent and staying at it because
Yeah.
we bash ourselves about what we are putting out as opposed to just saying, oh, just put anything out, make sure that it's about you, make sure it's true to you, but put out consistent work, and that's very important. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I think it's always unfortunate that we get so much advice in this world, especially women. But I've learned one thing: never take advice from somebody who is not there where you want to be.
Yes, I
As
agree.
simple as that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also one thing I've learned. I've teach myself to do it as well. When I'm, for example, oh, this is also what I want to tell you. When I quit my job as a, let's say, the recruitment role I had,
yeah.
and I met this guy who was a spiritual coach,
Mm.
and I'm also into spirituality, right? So I told him, like, I just quit the office that we had, and so I'm doing this, like, very excited. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you know how hard it is to earn money with this?" And then I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was like, yeah, for you.
Hmm.
So also, like, having this cheerleader voice that if someone is giving you advice on something that they've maybe have their own projections and their own insecurities, they will give you that, right? And he was like, "Do you know how hard it is to earn money with this?" And I was like, yeah, we'll see. But I in my head I was like, yeah, for you maybe. So also, like, you just push it back. Like, it's not mine. You can have it back. So that's
Yeah.
also important.
I'm also noticing that both of these pieces of advice came from men,
Yeah.
and that's a threat to watch out for,
Yes, yes,
potentially.
yes, yes. I just wanted to say it, but I don't want to dive too much into it. Both of them, yeah, male.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
and
I'm,
people
I'm
always
glad
make
that
the
we
big,
now have a community of women that we can reach out to, and I think be
yeah,
a little bit, happy for the person who's trying to make it work, as opposed to shutting them down for nothing
yeah,
at all. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And I think it's also important for me to ask you about this, that, how do you really stay aligned and when you lead, with purpose? Because sometimes what happens is that there is pressure, right?
yeah.
Sometimes money, contracts, clients, time,
Competition.
competition, timelines, all of these can put a lot of pressure
Yeah,
on how you lead. And I think what I'm clearly hearing from all your train of thoughts is that you make a very conscious effort to come back to the drawing board and make sure that now at least you no longer sway. So if you're tempted to compromise, how do you stay focused?
yeah. Great question. So yeah, you just said, like, there is a lot of competition. There are a lot of coaches out there. There are a lot of knowledge that you can get everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So how are you not getting overwhelmed
Hmm.
by all of this while still staying true to your purpose, right? And for me, it starts with, okay, I get overwhelmed sometimes. Like, sometimes when I'm when it's not going well or whatsoever, then I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like, am I doing something wrong? And then and also I'm on social media, of course, and I see every time, this client, this and this and this and this, and then I have this talk with myself, like, no, this takes time.
Hmm.
You can't compete with anyone. You don't know their story.
Yeah.
And sometimes also it can be just, making the story bigger than it is. So it's not always the truth. And my path is my path.
Yeah.
And by staying true to yourself and by knowing what you offer and everything you put let's say you put in this world the ideas, the course, you have to like it first. You have to be like, I love this. This is me. This is because your business is an extension of who you are, right? So
Yeah.
you have to put something that is so you, and then it's okay. Like when you're like, okay, I'm just for the people who know what I want, and on the same level. And of course I get sometimes overwhelmed, and I think it's important that when you do that, you have for yourself some kind of, let's say, practices where you can get back into your aligned state, because also being aligned the whole day, the full month is a lie, especially for us as women. Like
Yeah.
we go like this, right? And knowing first of all when you're in the app,
Yeah.
and being okay with that. So being very, yeah, I say sweet to yourself, just relax and don't expect too much from you. But having these habits where you feel like, oh, I feel a bit down. For me, what I do is breath work is one of the things like which will give me out of the state. I love going to the gym
Hmm.
and doing the sauna. So I always I go 4 times a week to the gym and to the sauna. But when I go, I feel like a fully different person. And when I'm done, and also when I'm in the sauna, I visualize that all the toxins, all the bad negativity, all the doubts, and everything are just going out of my body. And when I'm done, and when I take the cold shower plunge, get this hit, this
Yeah.
dopamine hit, then I feel like, yes, I'm this new person, right? So that's for me one of the things that will get me back to my state. And another thing is for me is the, well, practice what you preach, emotional freedom technique. This is, do you know it? EFT.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always, when I feel frustrated or out of balance, I write down, okay, what is it that I'm feeling nauseous about, or what is it exactly? And then I try to tap on myself, and usually I feel always a bit lighter afterwards. So yeah, having some habits about it, but also just being okay that it's not always in the
Yeah.
flow.
Right. Very practical tips. And I think if I were to summarize, you mentioned being kind to yourself in your ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Ebbs, not flows. And then the other
Yeah.
thing you mentioned is making sure that you get a little bit of a physical release of tension with gym
Yeah.
and sauna. And the other
Yeah.
thing is also a practical EFT technique that you spoke
Yeah.
about briefly.
Yeah.
That's all very practical, and I think it can really ground a person back to where they are. Because,
Yeah, because you know what it is? You stay in your head. If you stay
yeah,
in your head, then it will not get out of it. So you need movement, you need somatic work, you need to include your body as well. And when you do that,
yeah,
then it can, well, it releases the tension or the overwhelmed feelings. So I heavily agree on, when you do something, include your body as well.
100%. Because I think for me, postpartum specifically, I had been mostly in my head because I think you're trying
Hmm.
to overcompensate for a very normal process of
Yeah.
pregnancy, and
Hmm.
that caused a lot of stress for me and a lot of weight
Mm.
gain. But it
Yeah.
only came down when I started exercising, when I started working out, taking my 10K every day and coming
Yeah.
back to, my body. And I think that is a completely different experience from just being behind your laptop and thinking you
Yes.
can think your way out of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or maybe watching television or doom scrolling. Those
Yeah,
things will not get you out of the situation
absolutely.
you are in.
100%. And I think I had to shut down my social media for a few months just to kind of get
Yeah,
rid of all of that, every
yeah,
every stress that comes from just comparisons or,
yeah,
fear of missing out, everything that's
yeah,
out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great that you deleted it, because it's also sometimes I think we need this social media reset, right?
Yeah, I was unreachable and people were wondering what happened because I was frequently posting and then I disappeared. And I'm like, come
Yeah,
on, your body needs this. You have to make space for
yeah,
it.
yeah, and that's good. You respected your boundaries and your body, and I think a lot of people maybe will go over it, and then their body will shut down.
Yeah. But coming back to you also,
Yeah.
Morsel, what is that one piece of advice that you'd like to leave with, for our women leaders out there?
What? What?
One piece, I'll condense it. One piece of advice.
Yes, one piece of advice I could give for women in leadership skills, or I think getting to know yourself and
Mm,
asking, not only when you're like in therapy, like, or when you have like a coach, but every single day. If
mm,
something happens, something uncomfortable, asking yourself, okay, what is this teaching me?
Yeah.
What is this teaching me? That
Right. So waiting to respond, then react immediately and getting to know yourself.
Yeah, and even though something happens, something bad, like it all happens because of some reason. So try to see that it's a lesson.
100%. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's a lesson that I've seen some people don't also kind of learn this lesson until they're 50 and 60. So it's great that, you're giving it at around, you said 33, right?
I'm
Like,
30. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try to do my best. But I was this person. I was like um very like reactive.
hmm
If someone said something, I was like, la, 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 and I was very feisty, always like that. But what happens? You keep yourself in a cage because
Yeah.
someone else has the power over you.
Yeah.
And
And they have
once
moved on faster than you do.
exactly, and you're like still in your head, like still, I was in my bed and I was still thinking about the arguments that I could use. So I think you need to know that the power starts when you stop giving the other people like something to tell about you or opinions that yeah, I think that's the most important thing, that no one or no thing should have this much power over you. So
Yeah.
yeah, try
And
to
become, yeah. I think the lesson there is try to be unreactive.
unreactive. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I think this
You're
was
welcome.
exactly what I had hoped for from this session. So thank you so much for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
journey.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and for your insights. And this was very inspiring. And I'm sure it's also going to be the same for listeners. And to everyone who is tuned in, thank you. If you love this conversation, you can follow, subscribe, or leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Music. I'm Pooja, and I'll see you next time for more raw, unfiltered, stripped down truths on leadership. Until then, keep it real.